Welcome to Middle of the Road Podcast. My name is Cam Gillens, and like always, along for the ride is my good buddy Andrew McCormick.
What's up?
Tonight we're kind of going into a technological show tonight. It's kind of a topic that I kind of realized about a week ago that we haven't even touched on the show yet.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Wow. I think it's a good one because we're middle of the road here. We're always talking about gasoline, hybrids, full electric. So one of the only topics we haven't touched on yet is the inception of autonomous cars. So I think we'll go through that and what does that mean? What autonomous cars is, and some of the systems that go along with it. I think it'd be good to talk about for you guys tonight. We also got a couple stories that's going on with our good friends over in California right now.
I wouldn't call them good friends.
Well,
they're acquaintances.
The people that affects most are our car-loving friends over in California.
Them, yes.
We kind of feel very, very sad for them right now.
Yep.
So we're going to start with that off tonight. So what we're talking about is all the restrictions that's going on in California right now with anything that car related, carb related, all emissions and stuff like that. I mean, they're cracking down on all tuning phases that's everyone's doing over there with the emissions, and now it's come out they're gonna enforce decibel reading in your exhaust in 6 cities. They're gonna establish a system where cameras will actually measure the decibels coming out of your tailpipes and exhaust.
Be prepared. It's coming your way.
Be prepared. All these people that like to rail on their shit and have aftermarket exhaust, or even like me and Andrew were talking about the show, some of these nicer performance cars that's coming out right now, like all the big time Porsches, and I'm sure even like your Hellcats and stuff like that. I know the Hellcat's probably not a good friend in California anyway, but just the restrictions on them is going to be 90 decibels for cars and 80 decibels for motorcycles. And like me and Andrew were talking about, it's definitely got to get away with some of the old school Harleys and cars, I'm sure. I mean, exhaust. I mean, all these tuner cars that's over the tuner scene over in California. You gotta have to leave it stock.
But that's the problem. If you leave it stock cars are above that decimal range.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the GT500 Mustang is way above that, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
It does have the tuner settings that you can adjust the exhaust sounds on them.
Yeah, it's got the active exhaust cutouts and stuff like that. And maybe that's something that a lot of these people that like to play with their cars have to look at now is I know a lot of the aftermarket brands like Hooker and there's a couple others that actually have aftermarket cutouts like that you can actually flip a switch and will actually shut off the opening in your exhaust to quiet it down, and when you swap it back in, it opens it back up, type of a thing.
No. Whatever it is, it's a giant pain in the ass for everyone.
Oh, it is a giant pain in the ass for everyone, and like I mean, I get it. I get that they're trying to please all the people over there. They're trying not to.
I wouldn't say they're trying to please everyone. They're trying to please the whiners.
Well, it's California, man. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I'm sorry if there's any California listeners out on this podcast, but I feel bad for you. I really do.
Yeah.
So you got that, and then I know all the new emissions laws, but I'm sure it's got an effect right now that they can actually start reading your Cal IDs from your ECUs now too. So anyone that's actually even touched a tuner is pretty much screwed.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And like I said, I get not only these big modded cars will be screwed at that, but there's some instances where you kind of have to have some type of a tuner to even help with just the regular drivability of your cars.
Yeah. They don't care about that, though.
No, they don't.
It's all about making that quick buck. And that's
Yeah.
all. When it comes down to it, it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's making the whiners stop whining and making their money.
Mm-hmm.
By putting any kind of speed catch cameras or the exhaust cameras, they're just going for you just to make money.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That's kind of a weird thing. Cameras that can actually capture sound.
Yeah, that's what I was reading on, is that it's going to have a sensor in the cameras that catches it, so it's going to click on and take a picture of your car.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I guess it's not that different from the ones that's around here. That's actually a camera on kind of like a mobile lamppost.
Mm-hmm.
They're all over down here. They all have blue lights, and they're actually traffic cameras, just mobile traffic cameras that they'll set up at any or a troubled spot that they believe they're going to catch more cars speeding or racing or whatever.
Yep.
And it takes pictures, and if you get nailed, you get an actual ticket coming from that.
Yep, straight in your mail, even if you're from out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to really hurt their tourism business. Because if I take my truck to California, if I ever do, it is not legal in any sense of the word there.
You say that, but also you take it to California, you're going to be hurting another ways because of the fuel prices over there. That's another thing they're restricting. I don't even know. I've seen Instagrams, and I've seen them up to $6 to $7 a gallon just for gas.
Yeah, I run diesel.
Yeah,
probably
I know.
Twice that.
I'm afraid to see what that is.
Yeah, every time I look at diesel, it's always 1.50, 60 cents more expensive in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes $1.
Well, and I've told Andrew a few years back when we were in college, but they were starting to play with all the different emissions stuff on big diesels and starting to get more stringent on the regular passenger car diesels. And I told him, I don't know if we'll see light duty diesels stay around for another 10 years.
I don't know. It's their necessity, though.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know, but they're gonna put so much restrictions on them. I don't know. I think it's gonna happen just like all these HD V8s that's going on right now.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna put so much stringent on them that it's gonna push them to go try to go full electric with them.
Like I said, if they create a diesel or a pickup that can pull my camper like my diesel pickup, I'll change.
Mm-hmm.
But
we've covered that in the previous episode. Yeah.
But if they put too much restrictions on it, where I live, I don't have to worry about it. I'll be the last town to get that restriction. Mm-hmm. But when it gets here, which it eventually will, it's pushed everywhere, I will be an outlaw and just drive my truck and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get away with it. That's what we got to do. That's the point that they're pushing us to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to break the law, but
none of us do.
Some of the laws are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Telling you can't have a loud car. It's your car.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I've even seen stories of down here that they're trying to do something about it down here in a couple of neighborhoods.
Jesus. What is this world coming to?
I, I mean, what's it coming to?
Mm-mm.
See what's happened in the last 2 years, and then ask that again.
Yeah,
I
that's no shit.
mean, that's it. Just got get into our vehicles, and our passion is hurting. And
Our one release.
it's big release. That's the thing. I mean, I work in the industry, and we talked about a couple weeks ago actually about what's going to happen. I mean, there's big what's happening to the big tuning companies.
Yeah. I know H&S is out.
So you got I know Cobb's hurting like really bad right now. I mean, and that looks it's gone really bad. But I know when we were down the year that we were down SEMA for school, they were already starting to push legislation or whatever about this happening, and now it's just getting bad. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with all those aftermarket companies.
Yep. Hopefully they have a plan to survive because we still need them.
Yeah. Oh, and it's just not that. It's just the millions of jobs that's involved in that stuff. Is
Yeah, people are gonna lose their shit.
Yeah.
What I hope to see happen is a line be drawn that, because all this emission stuff basically originated in California anyway. Mm-hmm. The carb emissions and EPA and all that shit started cracking down on cars because of California. That's what we're taught in school, from what I remember. And they're the ones that started pushing all this stuff. I wonder when the states are going to start saying, well, we're not going to adopt your rules because it won't work here. Because, like, in my town, if they crack down on diesels too much, all the oil field companies use diesel pickups here. They're twice as reliable as gas. They pull heavier. They just get better gas mileage. So once those are regulated out, they got to switch to gas motors. I don't think they would appreciate that much. When they got to start paying about twice as much in fuel just because they're hauling the same stuff with a different truck.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it'll be like a state will say, oh, well, we're not going to follow your emissions. We'll instate our own emissions. They won't be as bad. And then people will actually start leaving California, going to those places.
Well, I mean, say, we're not that's already happening, but
yeah. That's what I hope to see happen. But what I see happening is exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be pushed all the way across the United States, and it's just going to hurt people that don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever see a exhaust camera ever showing up here, ever.
Well, see what I see happen. I don't even see traffic cameras over there.
Nope.
In Wyoming, what I see happening is that ever happens, that they get shot down.
Who would do that?
Who would do that? Yeah.
I know no one. We're law-abiding citizens here.
Mm-hmm. Stop. One of the reasons I love Wyoming, let's be honest here. Anything goes, and I love it.
It's true outlaw.
I mean, Wyoming, just the 10 years or whatever, how many years, at least 10 years I lived there, it just I came to realize that it's made of people that was transplanted there for jobs, or people that just wanted to get away from everything.
So my family ended up here, job transplant,
and enjoy life practically.
Yep. My grandpa came here because the job was better. They paid him twice as much.
That's why I ended up over there.
Oh, my grandpa came here many, many years ago. I've been here for 34 years. I don't know how old I am. Whatever.
Yeah.
I've been here for a long time. And it's just grown on me, especially the way, this isn't really car related, but with COVID, the way our state handled it, I don't know if I'd ever want to move anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they'll handle all these car regulations the same way. Some of the normal ones will be adopted but not really forced. Like every neighbor I have has a car that'll wake you up from a dead sleep. Every single one of them. And we all let each other know when we're going to town. That's just the way of it here. Like, I know when my neighbor leaves, he's got a badass Saline Mustang, loud as shit. And I hear him fire up. He goes to work about 5:30 in the morning. He gets home about 6:30 at night. But I know it's him because I can hear it. And then there's a Cummins that lives in the apartments across the street. He goes to work about 6 o'clock in the morning, comes home about 7. You know, I just know who they are. I don't know who they are. I just know their car. Well, Cummins is coming home.
Oh, the Cummins coming.
Yep. And when I was going to work at that time, me and that Cummins would race to work. You know, it's like that's better than a coffee. We'd always just have a little fun racing to work in the mornings. So now when he passes by, he'll trump his truck, make sure I hear him. When I leave, I do the same thing. I make sure he knows I'm leaving. I'm pretty sure they're like, oh, the Ford up the street's leaving.
These are activities that cannot go on in California.
No. So you can't have that bond with your neighbor. I don't know who they are. Don't care who they are. I just know what they do. They got nice vehicles, and they seem to be decent people because they seem to be car people. I might judge people a little fast, but if they got a nice car, then they're easier to judge by what they choose. Yeah. My neighbor behind me's got all kinds of loud shit. He's a cool dude. I actually know him. But yeah, if they brought traffic cameras here, they wouldn't be able to keep up with it. It'd be like, oh, well, they'd have to have a cop station. Well, I guess the camera would send you the tickets, huh? Well, they'd get your shit and eventually send you the ticket.
But like we were talking about, it's Wyoming. I don't know if they have the infrastructure to actually do like Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I like my little podunk. It's a little slice of heaven. Well, one man's heaven's another man's hell, but
oh yeah,
I like
know that.
I like my little slice of heaven here because I know that isn't going to be a thing anytime soon. And if it becomes a thing, they're going to have to cut down a rainforest for all the tickets. Because that dude ain't going to give up his Saline Mustang. I'm not giving up my truck. Dude's not giving up his Dodge. My neighbor isn't giving up any of his shit. There's no way. They'll cut down rainforest to make tickets. And we'll just pay the goddamn things and move on with our lives.
No, I mean, he was talking about that. And then when I lived up there, my drag truck, street legal drag truck, my neighbor next to us would always come and like, oh, you're going to be working on the truck. I can hear your starter. I don't know if a lot of you guys, the old school GM starter sound. I don't know if anyone I've had the style of truck that my drag truck is. My parents had one a little bit newer than that when I was growing up, from the time I practically was born till I was a freshman in high school. Had the exact same truck, puts about 4 engines, about 5 transmissions. The truck had 1 million miles on the chassis when we got rid of it. And that sound of that starter just was imprinted in my mind, and it's still to this day.
That would be a fun thing we could do on the show.
Even though my drag truck has a actual small hot rod starter on it, it still has that iconic sound for whatever reason. I think it's just that correlation between the starter gear and the factory flywheel. I think has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I think that'd be a fun thing we could do on the show. What starter is this? Just crank it. This? Have a crank sound. And be like, I bet you can nail them. Oh yeah.
It was just hilarious when I got that truck for that reason, because we didn't have that truck for probably 10 years, and then all of a sudden I got my drag truck and we started up, and I'm like, oh my hell. And then I started realizing all of that same generation of truck too. Exact same sound.
Yep. I can tell vehicles coming at me by the sound they make. It's just the way they sound.
So yeah, and then that's just another thing. We're talking about this decibel. I tell you the truth, that's kind of a loud sound. Just those starters and stuff like that. I'm sure it's not the 90, but it's gotta be probably up 50 decibels or something like that.
Yeah, it's not quiet.
No, I mean, mine's definitely not, but in all imaginations, because like I said, it's a race car hot rod starter.
Yep.
I put it on my truck. Okay, so kind of a tangent here, but I'm gonna tell it because this is who we are. I put it on there is because when we put the new engine in it, the engine I rebuilt, I tried to put the OG starter back in it, and it wouldn't clear the oil pan.
Mm-hmm.
So I fought for like an hour, just my hands above my head, trying to put that 30-40 pound starter up back in there. Luckily, for all the dirt track fans in Rock Springs, one of the graphics companies sponsors the track actually started putting a race car auto parts store in with their graphics shop.
Really?
I guess they're a remote affiliate with Speedway. So they had in stock one of their dirt car starters. So that's what I got. I mean, like I said, it only weighs maybe 10 pounds.
Wow.
So it took me 5 minutes to get that starter up in there after spending an hour to 2 hours trying to get that old one in there. And it's just one of those modifications, even if it's just a regular street car, but I'm going to build with a small block. I'm probably going to buy one just because it was so much easier.
Yeah. Well, you don't look for parts that are hard to install? The hell, man.
Yeah. And it just costs about the same amount of money as a new reman starter. That was what blew my mind, is that.
Wow.
So like I said, that was kind of a hell of a tangent, but it's just something I wanted to talk about. So back on subject.
Yeah, the subject we're talking about is shitty. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's just more regulations put on for no reason.
Yeah, I mean,
I get cleaning up diesels. That's one of the things that they did, making diesels cleaner, sure. But it's just a system that's put on to someone for someone to make money. And just like any regulation, that's all it is. They seen people complaining. I guarantee it's people complaining that don't like loud cars. They complained enough. California's like, oh yeah, we'll do this. We'll put this out here. We'll stop all these loud cars. And all they're thinking in the back of their head is ka-ching. Because then you get tickets for it.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they get to repo your car. I'm pretty sure, depending on how strict they'll be about it, I'm sure that's eventually where it'll end up.
Well, I'm sure if you get enough violations.
Yeah.
And I know that's what that kind of, I think the actual whole picture of this is they're trying to crack down on all the legal mods and stuff like that.
It's not illegal. I bought it legally.
Well, yeah, but
it's only illegal because somebody said it was.
And that's just like I said with the actual emissions. They can actually plug into your OBD2 ports and actually see if you put a tuner on it now, because they can read the original tune file and stuff like that. If there's a little snippet of a tuner putting on it, they tag you, and it's really shitty.
Not without a search warrant.
Well, I mean, see, and that's another thing. You say that, but this is during regular emissions testing.
Well, then that's just cheap. That is a sneaky, backstabby oof. I don't even want to get going on it. I do, but I don't, because once I start getting angry about it, then I start saying things that I probably shouldn't say. Saying, you know what? If enough people leave California, they won't have anybody to regulate. They can keep their whiners and everybody there. Think about it. They're creating a perfect place for all these people who want self-driving, eco-friendly, all that. They're creating a perfect place for them to go. All you car people, you're welcome here. You're welcome in Utah until Utah does their bullshit. I'm just saying Sunday in Utah sucks ass. Mormons can follow their religion. That's great. No qualms against that. But shutting down the entire town on Sunday is Their choice, I guess. We don't shut down on Sunday here. I don't think Denver shuts down on Sunday. That's another good city if you want a city. But it's fun here. It's fun in Utah. But I'm just saying, let them all move to California. It's a perfect place for them. You can all group up and make all your regulations, and we'll just draw the line and say, nope, your regulations can't pass this border. And then we all get together with dirt diggers and excavators, and we start digging on that trench. Just kind of scoop it off and make its own island over there. We'll just call it Island Wah.
Well, you say that, but all I can imagine is that movie, Escape from L.A.
Oh, Escape from L.A.
Yeah, that's all I can think of. The old series with Kurt Russell, and that's all I can think of when you say that. And
I just
think sad, but it might get to that at some point. The way things are going.
I'm just saying they're making this a perfect place for all the whiners. Just go ahead and go. You know a whiner? Tell them California's got vacancies. Expensive as shit to live there. Better be prepared. But all your regulations, all your whining, it's all tolerated there. Mm-hmm. And all of us sane people, shit, I'll even pitch in and rent a fucking excavator. I'll help. I know how to do it. I drive those all the time. Mm-hmm. Get a bunch of us together. God has drawn the line for us. We just got to follow it. It's already trying to crack off. Let's just give it a little push. See, that's why I don't talk about stuff like this, because that's where I go with it. I don't want to hurt anybody. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that line is already there. We could just start digging along it and see what happens. Nature take its course.
I mean, that mystic, huge earthquake is supposed to happen at some points, but hasn't yet.
We need another island around here. California would be a good island. The island of Wah. Hey, you know all the car manufacturers that want to create all those full electric weird cars? Got an entire state you can build in. You take manufacturing and everything there. Mm-hmm. And we can get back to normal in America and create decent, awesome cars again.
Unfortunately, I don't see that happening anytime soon, if at all.
Hey, one can dream. I'm dreaming right
Except
now.
The Corvette. As we've discussed on a previous show, we're both really excited for what's coming.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll see all that shit's amazing. I do accept the electric cars, too. There's some badass electric cars. Those can stay in America off the island.
Well, I mean, okay. I think we've touched this on a previous episode. It's them creating these electric cars from scratch and giving them all this weird, no grillage.
Yeah, no headlight.
No headlight. Yeah, we're bringing this back up. But no, if they're actually retrofitting some of these systems in these awesome cars already established, I completely agree with.
Yeah. I mean,
we just don't like the styling of the full electrics.
No.
That's meant to be full electrics.
Tesla's the only one really nailing a good looking front end right now, I think. Mm-hmm. I like the front end of their cars. They just look good. Mm-hmm. It's the Hummer EV, that squinty little headlight across the front of it.
That everything
looks like. You just take away the Hummer grill and put a different grill on it, or no grill, because they don't need them. And they all look the same. Mm-hmm. Those could be the cars for the island of Wah. Just saying. Bring all those squinty ass headlights over there.
Well, I mean, okay, let's be honest here. Do you actually see that Hummer actually doing well in the island of Wah? Based on what the Hummer's supposed to be?
No, but see, it can stay here. They just got to change the front of it. That's what I'm saying. See, in our world, the world that I envision, we can choose what is made, and the manufacturers actually listen to us, and not the island of Wanners, the Wannies. We could actually have a
Uh,
say and say, hey, we like this style. We like do a hybrid right now because that's what the world is capable of handling.
mhm,
Put some real goddamn headlights on it, make it look different, and
mhm,
we'll accept it. Then it passes
mhm,
our emissions test.
mhm,
It's got to look good.
mhm.
Visually, it's polluting my image or my vision while looking at these squinty ass headlights. It's just stupid looking. Sure, I don't know how much light it emits, but try.
I mean, I'm sure they're all LEDs, so
Yeah,
I'm sure they're boasting off quite a bit of lumens.
they have to have a certain regulation. I'm sure that they have to meet.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that could be part of this EPA bullshit crackdown stuff is the blue headlights. How they're
Mhm,
cracking down on nobody wanting the blue headlights. Those blue headlights are awesome. You can see forever with them. And that's
mhm,
another thing that they're trying to say you can't have, but all stock vehicles are coming with. And then
mhm,
they're telling you can't have loud exhaust, and your stock vehicle is coming with a loud exhaust because you spent your hard earned money on that car to get what you wanted. And they're telling you in California, no, you can't have that. And if you have it, we're going to charge you for it. What, do they already tax the shit out of you for buying it? They tax the shit
yeah.
out of you for living there. They tax the
Mhm,
shit out of you for anything that you want to do there. Now they're coming after you just because your car's loud. Get ready
mhm.
for that. And they're going to throw a tax on it too.
Oh, for a fact they will.
Oh, yeah.
If they already haven't. I
Well,
don't know. I haven't seen actually tag. It wouldn't shock me if they have like a noise pollution tax
oh, I'm sure it's
as
coming.
you're buying the car.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me.
You ever read that stupid thing when you buy a brand new car? All the shit that they throw on it?
Oh yeah,
Fucking docking fees?
docking
Serious?
fees.
You know what?
Yeah.
How about you keep your docking fee? We'll pull the car out on the middle of the road and I'll buy it there. What does that count? Docking fees. It ain't a goddamn boat. You didn't have to do anything but put it there. I came in to buy it, and you're gonna charge me for you putting it there? Bastards.
Go register it for the state. Then you
Which is
gotta have
taxed.
federal licensing.
Yeah, which is
And
taxed. Tax the poor to make the rich richer.
and then you gotta tax because they're gonna charge you more,
Mm-hmm.
charge you to get the nice seats, the nice seat protectors, then
Which is individually taxed.
putting hitches on shit that shouldn't have hitches.
That doesn't bother you, does it?
Ah,
Now you like that?
and then when they do have hitches, it completely screws everything else in the car because it's not supposed to have a hitch.
It's not designed to pull.
That's not, yeah.
Yeah. Which they'll tax you for.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Tax on our gases and now all these regulations that they want to throw on California is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for the car guys there. The car people.
I do too. And I'm sure like uh neither of us see it happen anytime soon in Wyoming.
Definitely not.
I have a feeling here in Utah is going to start playing with that. If I know they've already a little bit of doing that stuff too.
That's not true. Wyoming has it, but it's after 10 p.m. at night.
I mean, okay,
Don't be a dick after 10 p.m. at
don't
night.
be a dick. Yeah, there's a difference between being a dick and not being a dick and having
Yeah, and then getting in trouble for not
in
even
trouble.
doing
Yeah.
anything. Just driving your goddamn car to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is bullshit. I think there should be if they want to do the loud car bullshit, that's the best. That is the most logical thing. During the day, there's cars revving, running up and down the street all the time. I don't care. But at 10 o'clock at night, when it's time to go to bed, don't be a dick. Even the guys with the loud cars are not assholes. They're just loud cars. But they're not revving them like they do at noon, you know? They leave quietly. And even in the mornings when they go to work, they leave quietly. It's when they come home at night, you're ready to be home, so you're hauling ass.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only logical loud exhaust stipulation that you should have. A certain time. not while you're cruising to work.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's just stupid to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just when is California gonna regulate everyone to death and just what are they gonna call it, a limit? When all of a sudden just owning a car is bad? Even
I mean,
what are they going to do when they find out that these electric cars aren't as great on the environment as they think they are? Are they going to start regulating the shit out of those? You can only have a certain voltage. You can only charge at a certain time of day. What? I mean, it's getting ridiculous.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
That you wanted to see where this is
you're
going.
You're absolutely right. No, that's just it.
Yeah.
We've also, I think, covered this once or twice on the show. What's going to happen when California sees what with all the batteries and
what it takes to actually do this?
Mm-hmm.
They're just, what are they going to regulate the shit that they're telling you to go buy right now? You know they will. They're government. They don't care if they talk back, if they're hypocrites on themselves. They'll say, "Oh, you bought that electric car. Well, now here's this fee. You get money now to own an electric car, but in the future, you're going to get that taken away."
Well, if it already hasn't, from what I've heard, a lot of that incentive buying an electric car is already gone. They already took it away.
Some of them, I'm sure, it's still around enough on some cars. I haven't heard them taking it away at all. All I ever hear is people saying, "Oh, I got this much money for owning this car." Like on taxes this year, there was a thing where we could say, "Do you own a hybrid?" and then click it. We clicked it just to see what it would add, and it asked for a whole bunch of vehicle information and shit. So we never found out how much it would actually add to owning one. But what the case is you are getting paid to get an electrical, economically friendly car right now. When they find out that it takes a lot to make these goddamn things, you're going to get that taken away tenfold. Not what you're getting right now. They're not going to just take away what you're getting to own one. They're going to add more to it. So let's say you get $5,000 for owning that car right now. They're going to take 15 from you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be California driven. They're the ones driving all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it becoming a hypocritical nation where it's good now, but in the future it's going to be bad. And people are going to be like, well, why don't you get a gas-powered car? They're easier and cheaper to make, you know? Full circle.
Well, I mean, and we talked about some of the hybrids that's coming out and stuff like that. What's going to happen when they get those down cheap enough where everything they see that the full electric is in the craze and it's going to be these hybrids,
right? Then they'll start taxing people to own the full electrics and not going hybrid, and push all this full electrics, and then come to find out making it for the general population is hard and bad on the environment. Then it's going to be, oh, well, a hybrid is the better one to own, so now you get taxed for owning this full electric. It's just what I see. I don't think they have any freaking clue what they're doing. They're just throwing out regulations because they can make a quick buck right now. People like performance cars. It's just how some of us are built. You know, you like that acceleration, you like the sound, you like the feeling, you like the status it gives you in the world to drive one of those. So you buy it. And they see that and they know that. So, hey, these guys all are buying these Mustangs and Corvettes and stuff. They're not going full electric. Let's make our quick dollar on making it so your exhaust is too loud. It hurts our ears. So we're going to tax you and take your money away after taxing you for buying the fucking car. Don't customize it. Oh God, don't customize it. There's a tax for that too. I swear to God, if they catch you with your ECU messed with, you even plugged it into a tuner one time just to feel it, and you detuned it, and you don't have the tuner to turn it up at all, and they can see that it was there, you're going to get in trouble for it. You're going to get a fine. And
what's going to happen is that, I don't know if it has, but it might end up making you buy a complete brand new ECU at that point.
Jesus Christ. The ECU on this cheap ass Volvo out there is $800.
I know. How old's that Volvo?
It's 1999.
There you go.
Yeah.
What technological advances has happened since then?
Right.
Every other 20 monitoring computers that's left in your car, all connected to that ECU. Take a guess how much they are now.
It's going to take your hard-earned paycheck. That's all it comes down to, is keeping everyone under their thumb.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, and that we were talking about that, of all the ECUs and stuff like that. And then that segues into our next topic that I wanted to talk about tonight, is autonomous cars.
Let's talk about something a little more fun than bullshit.
It's a little bit more fun. Yeah, just a little bit.
Got to get out of this state of mind right now. I'm getting all amped up. Starting to feel tingly.
Yeah.
Autonomous cars. Here we go.
So autonomous cars. As we were just discussing about all the technological advances that's happened in vehicles and stuff like that, and computers monitoring everything that's in your gas powered cars now, to an actual controller that's monitoring everything in your electric car. As we start to play with autonomous cars, there's going to have to be a monitoring system connected to absolutely everything in that vehicle.
Everything.
So we're talking, as what we see today is now in your tire pressure monitoring systems, to your speed sensors on your wheels. And I'm even going to go as far as say the actual armature speeds that's happening in your motors in your electric cars. It's all going to have to monitoring that to the point where I don't even know. It's going to be crazy fast on all this computing data that's transferring over the bus systems in your cars. And it'd be interesting. I know a lot of, if not every manufacturer out there, automotive is playing with something at this point in time.
Everybody's doing it, so everybody's doing it.
It's just that Apple's got theirs. We were talking about Google's got theirs. One of the big ones playing with it is Mercedes right now.
Yep.
But what it comes down to, all this data is have to go be so fast. What happens to the point where it isn't fast enough?
Yeah. And it all comes down, autonomous cars, it all comes down to one code. They can make it as fast as they want. They can make it as advanced and everything. It's just one code. No one wants to write. And it's who does the car kill in an event that has no choice. Because in the real world, there is those events happening constantly. You have to tell the car, who do you kill? What choice does it make? That, like we've talked about all the time, is why full autonomous is nowhere near ready. Doesn't matter how close they are and how cool their car is driving down the road. It doesn't have to make that choice yet, and it's not even in there, I'm sure. Because who's the guy that they're going to get to write that code? And what choice does it make? So, in a scenario, driving down a road, your car goes into a situation, maybe around a corner, or on the interstate, someone walks out in front of you, because when they're changing their tire on the side of the road, I don't know how many times driving semi, someone just walks out into the road. I mean, yeah, I have time to react to it and swerve around him, but I made the choice to save his life by endangering someone next to me and my life to save his life. That's a choice I made. But that's just a reaction, too. Well, let's say you're cruising down the road, same thing happens, your car's closer to this guy, and there's a car right next to you, that guy and you. What does it do? Does it kill the people, or does it run into the car next to you, potentially killing possibly a family that's in there with you, or next to you, or you have your family in that car? It can make the split decision to drive you off of the road. And if it's a semi on the side of the road, which those are the worst, walking out, just not caring about their lives for some reason, it can run you into the back of their semi-trailer, which would save their life, the guy next to you, but kill you. Mm-hmm. And what if you've got your family in that car? That car has now made the decision to kill you and your family by saving others' lives. Who writes that code? What's the right choice? What I think they're trying to do is make it so that choice doesn't have to be made. But there's going to be a time when that choice has to be made. So that code,
it will always have to be made.
Yeah. It has to be in that car. Who wrote that code? Is he going to be able to live with himself after he wrote that code, knowing that, hey, I made this car decide whatever he decided?
Well, I mean, you talk about that, and it goes back to all the troubles that Tesla's had with their semi-autonomous, or whether they call it. I can't even remember what they even call it, but
autopilot.
Autopilot, yeah, something like that.
I call it driver augmentation.
I remember it's almost seemed like once or twice a week, just some random accident happened and they were getting dinged and lawsuits happening.
Yeah, because someone wrote that code into the car to do what it did.
Well, I know that's kind of a little different situation and that's why I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, because not a lot of people knew what was going on there. They call it autopilot and they're like, oh, it's going to completely do itself.
No.
And so they just used it just
because it's easier.
Because it was easier, and it happened, and that was just like how many cars Tesla has put out, and it was just one or two instances, and they got so ringed from it, and that's why it's hard for me to think that this is ever going to take off.
It's going to eventually, it will.
I know it. They're going to give it a hell of a go. We all know that.
They're going to write it into the car, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah. And
whatever decision that car makes, maybe they'll give it a few scenarios. I mean, computing, it can see things faster than a human ever could. The best outcome is the car makes the choices that you should make yourself. And it handles the situation better than we ever could. And maybe that situation is just void. Maybe there is no life and death situation at that point. Maybe the car can just do something that we can't.
Well, I mean, I can see that because using some of the systems that they got going on. I mean, does your wife's Explorer have the radar up front for adaptive cruise control?
That car drives itself, basically.
Okay.
I didn't know. The only thing that I have to do, or she has to do driving it, you just have to keep your hand on the wheel. And in bigger corners, you can steer the car around it. It requires you to do that. But in a straight line, the car drives itself. It reads the cars in front of you and all kinds of stuff. I think that's gonna have a little to do with that type of a situation. If they're gonna play with that to the point where it might just off that sensor, that radar, it's gonna sense that several cars, maybe tens of feet in front of you. It can see that type of a thing, and like you said, maybe just will stop the car, and hopefully all the rest of those cars that has this can see that your car is stopping, type of a thing. It's yep. And that, like, along the lines of you were talking about autopilot, I've watched a couple things about the autopilot where the cars actually avoided the accident because of autopilot. It was on YouTube. I don't remember. I don't even know if I can say the name. If I could remember, for copyright issues, but the car comes to a stop because it's autopiloting. It comes to a stop on an interstate, and the person behind it doesn't see that the stuff, or they're not paying attention, or on their phone or whatever,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It rear ends that Tesla, and it swerved around the car in front of it because it's seen the accident happening as it was happening. And it avoided a bigger accident just because of autopilot. Man, I mean, in the terms of autonomous, it's either we all go autonomous, or you're going to run into a bad situation, where in an autonomous situation, it can tell all the cars around it, there's a semi off the road up here, and Mercedes is working with heartbeat sensors and stuff to sense live stuff, animals, humans, whatever, heat sensor, heartbeats. It'll say, oh, there's a guy. Maybe you can sense him from around the truck that's in front of the car. This is a dangerous situation. And it tells all the cars around it, hey, we need to prepare for this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Then the life and death situation is avoided because it can talk to all the cars around it. But do you ever see it becoming full autonomous everywhere instantly?
Nah.
It's going to be implemented, and there's going to be, just like it is right now, full electric cars on the road. Some people have it and some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that the life and death situation is avoided, in my opinion, is if everything's autonomous.
Well, and that's, but I don't see it ever. Even then, I don't see the life and death situations ever gonna completely stop, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because these systems, everything's gonna have to work, period, for it to work.
Yeah.
But what's gonna happen when one of these radar sensors gets some resistance in it, that
Or reads something wrong.
It reads something wrong, or
it mistakes the input for something else and does something completely opposite.
Exactly, because we all know sensors do that. I mean, I've had a sensor that reads completely, like I had a coolant sensor that said it was completely cold, or excuse me, completely hot. So all I did was just dump fuel in, and it wouldn't, the engine would just cough unless I put my foot straight to the floor for the idle mixture to actually fire it off. That's what's going to happen when a sensor like that goes down.
Yeah, right.
I mean, obviously it won't be a coolant sensor because at that point there won't be coolant, but I'm just saying a sensor like that.
A sensor that senses the road itself.
The road itself.
Steering sensor. I mean, you have to have so many sensors in these cars, it'd be ridiculous. And you're right, if one of them fails.
Just one. Absolutely just one.
I mean, I would hope that the car companies would be building in redundancies, just like NASA does when they send people to space. They always have a backup. But how many backups can you load into a car? I mean, one fails. What if that same problem affects the second sensor that kicks in, your redundant sensor, and it affects that sensor too?
Which I've seen instances where that happens.
Yeah. So now your redundancies are done. Your car... You, being the technologically advanced society we will not be paying attention to what the car is doing in autopilot. You'll be looking at a phone, a computer, doing work, or sleeping.
Well, like Google's working on that. The whole actual where your windows and everything will be just an encapsulated screen.
Yep. Yeah, won't even
that
have
will be just be like I said. The actual concept I seen was that, and the whole thing was ran on Google Earth and Google Maps
because those are reliable.
I know. Cameras on the car would show you on the outside of what's going on and stuff like that. And
yeah. Yeah, and in a situation where you don't have any control, you're just a passenger, which is full autonomous, would be you're putting your faith in a vehicle that has no care for you whatsoever. It's going to follow a code. And whatever happens, happens. You get to go for the ride. You don't even have a brake pedal. We might have an emergency stop switch, maybe.
You probably will. I'm sure they'll have to implement emergency stop.
Yeah, but like I said, who's going to be paying attention? When a car is fully driving itself, even I will be a victim of that. I don't know how many times leaving college, I just wish I could have pushed a button on my truck that said drive home, because my mind was just mentally drained at the end of the day. And I just want to sit there and ride home. Everybody will do it. I don't care who you are. I'll pay attention. I'll watch. I'll never let the car just do everything. Yes, you will. You'll be tired.
No, you absolutely will. We all know this.
The car will work. The car will just do its job because they will design it to do it right. And there'll just be one day where all of your system fails on one side of the car, or whatever, a major sensor fails. And that car's going to do something. You won't even be paying attention. It'll be too late for you to hit the stop button. And there will be a failure. And they'll just chalk it up to that. You may have died, but you bought the autonomous car. You basically made your choice. And that's where I agree with you that autonomous will never be full. Not in our lifetime, at least. Maybe my daughter will see it. Maybe. But they're definitely not ready for full autonomous. The fun one that we wanted to talk about is autopilot stuff. Well, at least I wanted to talk about it because I absolutely love my wife's car. That thing has caught stuff that I have missed. And I don't like to admit that, but there was one time we were cruising, and if I wouldn't have had front-facing radar saying that the car was stopping in front of me, I would have rear-ended it. It was just a fault on myself. I just turned away for half a second, and the car in front of me decided to slam on its brakes because it wanted to turn in that turn, and I looked away right as it was stopping, and the car started doing its auto, like, hey, this car's stopping in front of you thing. You've got a second to push the brake or I'm doing it. And it alerted me I turned back forward and immediately knew what the sound was and started hitting the brakes. And I mean, I was probably a foot and a half away from the back of that car by the time I stopped. Now, that also scared me that I stopped, but did the guy behind me. I immediately looked in my rearview mirror and I was like, okay,
absolutely.
The dude behind me stopped, you know? And this is just a rural town, little bitty town, you know, not a lot of traffic. Sometimes there's a lot, but not a lot, you know, nothing like Salt Lake or
what happens when you're stop and go on the freeway?
Yeah.
For miles on miles behind you.
That's the thing about my wife's car is it can handle anything down to 15 miles an hour. If it gets below 15 miles an hour, it automatically tells you take over everything. Or the more scary thing that it does that I do not like and Ford really needs to work on is it will start to accelerate again. As soon as it gets below 15 miles an hour, it's like it loses whatever the hell is going on in front of it. It's like, oh, you want to go 80 again? No. And it will immediately start to speed up. And I did not enjoy that. That was stop and go traffic in Salt Lake.
Well, and when I worked at the Toyota shop down here, I drove a couple of the new RAVs and a couple of the new Highlanders and stuff like that. I just didn't like it, period.
You didn't like the auto?
I did not like the adaptive cruise control at all.
Oh, I love that. I really do love that. I had it in my semi too. Absolutely loved it. It's a lot more aggressive in a semi. First automatic semi I ever drove, and it had what they called LiDAR out the front. And it also had a way to sense the speed limit signs, which I didn't like either. I'll tell you a story about that in a second. But having cruise control like that in my semi is amazing. For one, you know, the one I was driving was bound at 65. So when you get up behind that one semi in front of you that comes down to 62 miles an hour, you don't have to do anything. Just let the semi do it. Car pulls over in front of you. It will space you out like you need to be. I loved it because it took away one focus that I needed more for the road driving a semi. It had a lane departure, but it didn't have any assist to bring you back, any of that stuff. But it also had a way to read speed limit signs. And I was cruising back from Wamsutter, which is a really, really small town, about 2 hours, about an hour from here. And there's an exit right off the road then the speed limit sign for it getting back on the road is right next to the interstate. It's 35 miles an hour on an 85 mile an hour road. So when it reads that sign, and every semi driver that I know that has driven with that LiDAR system says the same thing, right outside of Wamsutter, it reads that 35 mile an hour speed limit sign. And it will aggressively take you from 80 miles an hour as fast as it can backwards to 35. And it will shock the shit out of you. You're not ready for it. You can turn that off. Thank God it's just a little button that you press. You monitor speeds after that, after you push it. And I never, ever used it again after that. There was a semi behind me. There was cars next to me. There was a car probably behind me. And it aggressively came down in speed. I went from 80 miles an hour down to 65 in probably 3 seconds. Because it aggressively slowed me down. Seemed a little too aggressive for my liking, but it was bullshit. I was awake for the rest of the drive.
Oh, I bet.
It took me a second to figure out what the hell happened, too. And the fact that if you brake hard in a semi, it sends the stuff to your boss that says, hey, there was an aggressive braking. And
yeah.
he got on, he immediately called me because it pings him on his phone that the semi
Damn electronic logs.
Yep. And I immediately told him that I had an aggressive braking situation. And he called me, and I was like, it was your goddamn truck. It read a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign, and it aggressively broke, and it scared the shit out of me. And he's like, oh, yeah, we'll have to get that looked at. I was like, yeah, it wasn't my goddamn fault. But I've never had any kind of thing like that pinged against me, so he was cool with it. Other drivers, they have that all the time. There's some good drivers, but very rare to find those anymore. Driving an automatic semi alone was a complete change for me.
Oh, I bet.
Like getting into an automatic semi.
I've heard they're pretty rad.
It is. Oh my god. I don't know if I'm gonna get my CDL taken away from me for saying this. Maybe I shouldn't say it. No, I'm gonna say it. An automatic semi is 10,000 times better than driving a manual. Any time of the day, I will take an automatic. I was fully against it. I said, well, how's it going to handle grade going down a steep grade? How's it going to shift? How's it going to handle a load? Is it going to be uncontrollable? Is it going to scare the shit out of me? Because I don't want to be scared driving a semi. It's already nerving enough. It downshifts far better than we can. And in a situation, a semi driver with a manual misses, that is a 80,000 pound load, free rolling down a highway, down a steep grade. And if you can't get it back into gear, you're going to kill someone and yourself. Automatic, you don't have that trouble. You think, oh shit, I'm going a little too fast. You tap the brake, the grade braking kicks in, turns up the engine brake, shifts down a gear. It doesn't miss. Taking off from, fuck that. Stop and go traffic in Salt Lake. I was watching this poor son of a bitch next to me in an old school Peterbilt, just shifting his heart out, man. I mean, he was taking off just little rolls, And I looked, and yeah, I'm in a newer Streamline. What was it? It was Peterbilt too. And he's shifting away, and I'm just holding the brake and pushing the gas. And the truck's doing it all.
Yep.
Taking off from a light, you can punch that son of a bitch, and it just goes. I loved it. I would far prefer any kind of stop and go traffic, or just anything, because it takes away one of your focuses to shift the truck. You have to have one of your mental focuses on that. Automatic, nothing. And that's another thing. They want to do autonomous with semis. They're pretty close. I would say with the LiDAR system, I know Tesla's got their the Nikola trucks. I don't even know if that's a Tesla system. But I know Nikola trucks have autonomous drive. What I don't like is that is going to put a lot of people out of business. Or, well, not out of business, but a lot of people out of a job.
Oh, yeah.
How many semi-drivers are out there right now? Tons.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yep, when the autonomous semi shows up, that's when the economy in America is going to get hurt. But I also still agree with it. I agree with full autonomous too. Just be honest. Because look at other drivers. There's so many shitty drivers on the road nowadays. And it's just either lack of being taught or just lack of care. Lack of knowledge.
It's all of the above situation, I believe.
I honestly think I would feel safer when that shitty driver is riding in an autonomous car and they have no control. Next to me, even if I'm not in an autonomous, because being a semi-driver, you train yourself to focus on the road, and you watch the road different than anybody driving a car. Like you watch a certain distance ahead in a car, you have to watch 3 times that in a semi. I'm just used to it. And the good drivers out there, you can tell that they're a good driver just by following them.
Oh yeah.
But honestly, I think I would feel safer if the shitty drivers all just got autonomous vehicles. That's just my honest opinion. Because you don't know what they're going to do. You know what the autonomous car is going to do. Unless the sensor's failing.
The sensor's failing, yeah.
And then maybe you'll eventually, after time, you'll figure out, hey, that this autonomous car is having an issue. Maybe I should avoid it. Just like you would with any shitty driver. That guy's driving really bad. I'm going to avoid it. You'll avoid the autonomous car having an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we need to have more faith in the human population, you know? Humankind in themselves.
Humankind.
Unfortunately, I've lost a lot of it, but slowly getting it back. You don't see as many good people in the world anymore, you know?
No, you don't.
And it's the same with good drivers. You don't see as many as you used to.
Well, it just goes back to that thing. They don't care.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's they don't care. I just think they just don't know.
Well, it's they don't care because they don't know is what it is.
Yeah. And it's just putting everybody in danger.
Yeah. And like I said, that it's the same situation on why car culture is slowly dying, is that exact same thing.
We can't allow it. Can't allow it to die. If it's just on me and you, Cam, we have to do it ourselves. Keep car culture alive. We'll be the last two son of a bitches alive, cruising V8 rat rod bullshit.
I might drag truck.
Yep.
Pump up the slicks on it and just do a crazy burnout.
Yep. It's got to. If it falls on no one, it's got to fall on us. We got to
finally put a line lock on it and just do a burnout, like a 2-minute burnout.
Yep. We'll be the true outlaws. I'll keep my diesel pickups because they are ingrained in my blood.
Mm-hmm.
I like them. You just push a button and you've got a hauler, and you push a couple more buttons and you got a race car. Mm-hmm. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
They can have my diesel and they pry it from my cold, dead hands. I will not let the car culture die.
Yeah.
The only way that I'll let it die is if I'm dead. And then I won't care.
You all have a choice in the matter.
I won't have a choice. But I can teach my daughter. And it can live on that way.
Mm-hmm.
She likes cars. She absolutely loves my truck. When her mom tells her, "What are you going to drive to high school?" She said, "Dad's truck." The fuck you are. Yep.
That broken down Volvo in your garage.
Yeah, unless we do something cool with it. But even then, I'll probably let her take that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's posts on Facebooks. My daughter will not find your V6 Mustang cool.
I love that meme.
Yep. And she won't. She's already with me.
I mean,
there's certain vehicles that we talk shit about. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a huge Cummins fan, but they're good diesels if you like them.
Yeah, I come to realize that before the show today, but you're never Cummins. I'm not either, apparently.
That's the thing that's great, though. You have choices. We have choices. For now. We have choices. But it made me such a proud dad when she's like, "Oh, we got to go around this guy because he's got a Cummins." Like, oh God, I would have blown my fucking engine out of my truck to pass that guy. I would have left it on the side of the road just to pass that Cummins. I wasn't even in the mood to pass him. He was kind of going my speed. It was on our trip to Arizona that I talked about previously.
Anyone says that, you just gotta go for it.
Oh God, and I sped to beat him, but God damn it, I did it. Just because she said that, I said, she's like, "Oh, we got to go around this guy." She's in the back seat, dude, with our dogs. I'm hauling my camper. He's hauling a boat, some light skidoo boat thing, and he's going slow up the hill. I started letting off just to be considerate. You know, I didn't want to go flying past him. Plus, I didn't know if I was going to be able to maintain my speed.
Yeah.
My camper's 18,000 pounds, 19,000 probably with everything in it, and he's got a boat. If he wanted to, he could have pushed the throttle down and beat me because he has quarter of the load on. But like I said, I'd have blown my goddamn engine to pass him. And I did. Just because she said that. I wanted to reinstill in the fact that, it was just a Cummins. Yeah. And then I went to pick her up from her skate night that she does. And her boyfriend that she's got, which is all right with me. Her mom told me I have to be okay with it.
Where's the shotgun?
No, I gotta. It's well lubricated.
I know you got a few others in that truck you keep talking about.
I got a few selections. I got choices. I like my choices, but whatever. I'm cool with it because I was told to be.
I've seen those few.
I took them to the college a few times. I remember when Ken opened my door and my 45 was stuck in my center console. He didn't even acknowledge it. It's not like I was going to do anything with it.
So you're 45 and then your AR in the back too.
I don't want to talk about my guns because they'll probably make people uncomfortable. This is a car show. But I'm from Wyoming, and everything you hear about is true.
That's Wyoming through and through right there.
Believe those posts about Wyoming.
Yes, do.
Because I guarantee anywhere you go in this town, people have enough to deal with.
Well, it's not even a town. It's just, I mean, another hell of a tangent. I was in high school one day, and all of a sudden, just the resource office just decided to do checks on people's cars, and a lot of them got pinged on because they all had their hunting rifles in there.
That's the only thing I don't keep in my truck.
Mm-hmm.
My hunting rifle's in my closet.
Yeah.
And it's not really actually designed for hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I do is for home defense.
Mm-hmm.
And the potential scenario outcomes. You know, I'm not a doomsday prepper or any of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in being prepared, but just not gonna go crazy with it. I don't have a bunker somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this town, we got guns. Everybody I know's got more guns than they need, and we ain't ever gonna change that. And ain't nobody in this town in danger of getting a mass shooting. I mean, maybe some psychopath and you don't know people, but it ain't gonna go down like you see on the news in cities that ban guns. No. It's gonna be over before it begins.
Yeah. Well, and that's just the thing is everyone knows that everyone's got them.
Yeah. Go ahead. Pull out.
I said no one dares.
Yeah. You go ahead. Walk out into that concert and pull out on somebody. I bet you're going to get 10 more put on you. Mm-hmm. It ain't going to end well for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel safe in this town. Sometimes I don't conceal carry, but I know the dude next to me, he might be the psycho, but the dude behind him's got one.
Mm-hmm.
He might get me, but he ain't going to get my family.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the comfort I feel with it. But anyway, off the topic of guns before we get scared.
I pretty much think that pretty much ends the show tonight.
Oh, I wasn't done saying what I was saying about taking my daughter to her skate night. You started talking about guns. Anyway, so her boyfriend.
Back on topic then.
Yeah, let's get a little back on topic, then we can end the show. So her boyfriend's dad shows up, and he's driving a Dodge, a 1500 Hemi 5.7, not even the big one. And she looked immediately at me, and she's like, yeah, I know he drives a Dodge, and it's a Hemi, and it's not even a diesel, and it's a small pickup, but you still have to like it. I said, I don't have to like his dad. I said, it definitely draws on me because you're brought up into that world and influences you on what you choose to drive in the future. And I'll be damned if she goes anywhere in the world in a Hemi pickup truck. You better impress me with a car choice. I don't care what it is, but it better not be no pickup with a car engine in it. That's just my opinion. So I made sure that leaving there, he knew that I drove a diesel pickup. That's just how I roll. Yeah.
Anything else on the top of your head you want to?
Oh, I could talk about cars and shit like this all day. So I could talk more about autopilot if you want to. I could talk about more on autonomous, electric.
We could spend all night actually getting really, really into it.
Yeah.
But
if you wanted to go in depth, all you have to do is say it in the comments if you want us to go more in depth on our shows. What do you want to hear? Tell us what you want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we mentioned last show, we are now actual video streamed and everything is going to be on YouTube as much as on any of your regular podcast platforms.
So you pretty much got a choice of if you want to listen to the audio or if you want to watch us.
You want to watch us.
You have our impressions.
Give our impressions and laugh our asses off.
And there we talk and I record before the show and even after and I'm sure we're going to talk for another 30 or 40 minutes. That's just how we do it.
This is why we do it.
Yep. So if you want to hear that kind of stuff, let us know too, because I have it all. I'm putting up the podcast, the video portion of the podcast on YouTube, which no credit required, all lowercase, no spaces on YouTube. And I can do behind the scenes stuff if you guys want to hear us bullshit before the car show. It's whatever you
might
guys want
actually be more entertaining doing that than actually our actual show. So
yeah, sometimes. Well, we don't always talk about cars either.
No,
there's sometimes we talk about iPhone. I mean, we talk about everything.
Yeah, we talked about iPhones. We talked about
movies, everything.
Gaming computers. Yep. What's that?
We talk about everything. Literally everything. This is a car show. We try to keep it as much car show as we can. But it's the post and pre-show that we talk about all kinds of random stuff. If you want to hear it, I can put it up.
Yeah, so we could put it up. I mean, there's no credit required, no spaces, no capitals. It's all around together on YouTube.
Yep.
I'll put a link up incorporated with all the podcasts and stuff like that too. So if you guys want to watch us, you can do that. And like you said, if you want to watch us or listen to our after shows or whatever, it's all going to be on No Credit Required. Like I said, I've got a couple other videos I'm working on it's going to probably be up there. So
that's where all the bullshit collides. I'll show you everything. I got gaming and our alcoholic stories, our alcoholic testing. Yeah, we got to do more of those. That was fun.
That was fun.
I wouldn't mind doing some reviews on alcohol.
Yes, on alcohol.
We can actually do it on here too, I guess. It just both of us would have to buy a bottle.
We could just completely different other show doing that.
Yeah, I like the car.
I don't know if I drink enough to actually do that though, but
right. I don't know if my credibility as a what are they called?
Connoisseurs.
Connoisseur. Yeah, I'm definitely not an alcoholic connoisseur. I don't hardly ever drink.
No, neither.
So I just know what tastes good and what doesn't taste good. Same thing with cars. I know what's decent and what's not.
Yeah.
That's why we do these things. So we can force our opinion on you.
And we're so grateful you actually listen to our opinions too.
Very much so. Very much so. Give us your opinions.
Yes, we would like to hear your opinions on everything. If you have any questions on anything,
if you want to join the show.
Yeah, that's something that I haven't said enough, maybe the first couple episodes, but if you really want to actual hatch in with us and just talk us, I don't even care if you're really a car person. If you have any questions or anything, just let us know.
We don't even care if your opinion is completely opposite ours.
No,
that's exactly what I want.
I say if you have a completely opposite opinion, just feel free to chime in.
Yeah, just do it the right way. Don't be an asshole about it.
Yeah, just don't. Yeah,
because I can respond in kind. I'm very good at that. Let's debate. If you don't like electric cars and you think they're completely stupid, this is a platform to talk about it on.
Or if you absolutely love it,
exactly,
and absolutely hate gasoline cars,
we don't care.
We don't care. Yeah, if you want to talk about it, if you have some good stories, no matter what topic.
Yeah,
if it involves any car or automotive or whatever, we'd like to hear from you. So,
or if you want us to talk about something, you want our opinion on something, let us know.
It's like I've kind of I have an idea of doing a side-by-side show, and I've got one of my buddies that's we've talked about you might want to do. So if you want to hear that, let me know, and we can hash that out a little bit. So
this is all entertainment for you guys.
Yeah.
And it's a stress relief for us.
Yes, absolutely. That is absolutely.
Yeah, definitely want more opinions.
Yep.
Tell us we're wrong. We'll tell you we're not. That's how it works.
Right. Yeah. That'll do it for our show tonight. Thank you as always, for listening. And this has been Middle of the Road Podcast, and hope to do this for you again pretty quick.
Latest.
Later.